Welcome back, trainers. So we're going to be going over all of the possible shiny Pokemon that you can find during Adventure Week because, as you may know, we're going to be having increased spawns for Rock-type Pokemon, in which we do have quite a few very nice shiny forms that we can find outside of the newer ones that are going to be introduced, as well as going over the ones that are going to be new, in fact, to the shiny family for Pokemon Go. And another thing to take note of is if you do have partly cloudy weather, you will be getting boosted rock-type Pokemon, so that is something to take note of, something you can't really control. But if you do see you have partly cloudy weather within that hour or whatever period of the day, you probably should get out there and grind as hard as you can during that time period in which the partly cloudy weather is appearing to maximize CP and IVs and possibly even get a very nice high CP shiny Pokemon of a rock-type family. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the Pokemon that we can expect to be shiny and the ones that you should be checking during Adventure Week. So for the newer shinies, we will be seeing Onix, Lileep, and Anorith, of course evolving into Steelix, Cradily, and Armando. And of course, we also do have the 50,000 Stardust reward for the Adventure Week, reaching that 50 kilometers. Now people were asking me, and I see this online as well, will you be able to turn on the star piece and collect more Stardust? And to my response is going to be, I don't think so. I could be mistaken, but as far as I know, I don't think that is going to be happening. And then of course we're going to have those rock types spawning in the wild, 4 times Buddy Candy, and then field research revolving around rock type Pokemon. I would assume that there might be some sort of, Onix, Lileep, or Anorith within those, so you can have, a better chance to even find those. But I'm pretty sure they're going to be spawning in the wild at an extreme rate, so that shouldn't be too big of a deal there. This is all going down June 4th and ending June 11th. So there you have it for the newer shinies. Now let's go ahead and talk about the others that you need to be looking out for. Alright, so before we get started on the full list, I'm just going to go over my shiny rock-type Pokemon that I currently have in my collection. Of course, you're not going to be running into a Golem or Omnistar in the wild, just their pre-evolutions in the shiny form possibly. So for the Golem here, I did find the shiny Geodude, add a house spawn here, so that was quite amazing. Immediately evolved it, and I don't think the IVs are too great here. Decent, so that is something to take note of. I don't know if this is happening in your area, but it's very hard to come across the Kanto version of Geodude because all we're seeing is the Alolan form. For some odd reason, I don't know what Niantic's intentions are for that specifically. Maybe just so it's harder for you to find the shiny Geodude, in which this event should help you find more of those regular Kanto Geodude spawns. And then we have the Omnistar, which I did find obviously the first stage in the wild, and I evolved it, powered it up, and I'm using it in the Great League. I didn't purchase a secondary move because 75,000 is a little bit steep, and it's going to be extremely weak to grass-type Pokemon, specifically for the Rainbow Cup. And it's an okay Pokemon to use, but very weak to grass types, in which there's other Pokemon I could be using. I did get this one through a field research during the Scyther event. Of course, I found everything else shiny, but that shiny Scyther, and still looking for it. So if you're watching this, you're going to GoFest and you're on my friends list, save me a shiny Scyther if we're able to do multiple special trades, because I will be looking for one of those. So I'm pretty happy about this. Believe it's a 98%, pretty crazy. Do have one Shuckle from the little event that they had going on there. Didn't really grind too hard. Just went out there, found one, and then 2 minutes later, hatched 2 Clefas back to back. Literally pretty insane. So you'll be able to find yourself a shiny Shuckle. Larvitar is rock type. I'm assuming it's going to be spawning. I don't know how often, but you can possibly find that in a shiny form. So that is something else to take note of if you missed out on the community day. And of course, everybody's favorite, Aeron, right? I go plus these left and right. I don't know what it is, but I do. I had a lot more. I've traded off about 4 of them because people, when I ask them what shiny do you want, they go through my list and they see I have a bunch and they say, oh, I want that. I'm like, okay, sure, take it. It's all yours. So another one to look out for, probably not the most exciting one, but still a shiny nonetheless. And of course, that's going to be evolving finally into Aggron here, everybody's favorite raid Pokemon to use, right? So let's go ahead and get into the full list of these shiny Pokemon in the Pokedex to see what we have going on here. Okay, so we're just going to start it off at the top here and just move our way down. Now, could we possibly see, increased spawns for ground type Pokemon alongside the rocks? maybe a little bit, but don't get your hopes too high. But in which case, you will be able to find yourself a shiny Sandshrew. But that one is not necessarily a rock type, so don't get too hyped for that quite yet. And then moving on down here, of course, we have the Geodude, which you can find the golden nugget here, just like this. So that's looking really nice. And then its evolved stage moves up into kind of a rusty looking color. And then we just looked at the Golem, which I really wish it maintained that golden nugget color like the Geodude. That would have been really nice. It's not bad at all anyways. And then moving down here, let's see what else. Of course, you're going to be able to find that Onyx. And then moving into the golden Steelix, which looks quite amazing. And towards the end of this video, I'm going to be discussing a very special Onyx that you may know about. Don't want to say the name quite yet. We'll see when we get there. We don't have Shiny Rhyhorn introduced yet. And then moving down the list here, let's continue. And then we have the Omnite, which is the nice little purple color here. So if you're missing that one, make sure you're tapping on those to see if you can find yourself a shiny one of those. Very nice. And then you're going to also have Aerodactyl. This is going to definitely be spawning in the wild. I don't know how often, I don't know how many you will be able to come across, but it will definitely be a shiny out there for you to be checking. And this is a pretty nice one. I like the color. How useful is it in PvP? How useful is it for raids? It's not useful for raids. It's not useful for gym battling. As far as PvP goes, it doesn't have much relevancy. I'm sure it could find some one day, depending on a specific cup. It did get the new move Earth Power, so I mean that is something to take note of or not take lightly as well, because that move is pretty good. You're not going to be getting stabbed or anything like that, but it's still going to be a new move for it and giving it a bit more coverage as opposed to its other movesets from before. So that's another one to take note of. Aerodactyl, pretty nice. And then of course I'm skipping right over the one that a lot of people want, Kabuto. As you can see, I personally do not have one, and that's going to be coming in a nice mint green color. I'm really excited to see if I can possibly find a shiny form of one of these. Been looking quite hard for some time. Every time I see one in the wild, I tap on it immediately, and to no avail have I found my shiny neon green ancient rock, right? So it will be evolving and staying and retaining that shiny neon green color. So that's another one to take note of and look out for. Kabuto, quite nice. And then moving down here, let's see what else rock types we can find and discuss here. Sudowoodo, not quite released as a shiny yet. That would have been pretty neat. Do believe it's like a golden color. And then we have that Steelix, which you won't be seeing in the wild, obviously. But when you do evolve that Onyx, it will be going into that beautiful gold color, which I do believe is going to be high on everybody's list to obtain, obviously. Steelix is very useful for PvP, very good for gym dropping. As far as gym attacking with it, I mean, you could use it. It's not horrible, but there's going to be way better options. But it's not a horrible option to drop in a gym. And PvP, it's going to be looking great. Throwing that in the battle, the golden color, it's going to be fantastic. Then moving down here, we don't have any more rock types. Well, we do have the Larvitar, which can be shiny, but you know, since the community day, it's not that rare anymore. But I know there's newer people joining Pokemon Go all the time who did miss that community day, or if you were playing when this event was going down, this community day specifically, and you missed it, well, this is going to be your opportunity to hopefully find some more and maybe even hatch more, because we're going to be getting increased rock type Pokemon spawning out of 2-kilometer eggs. Now, are we going to be seeing 2-kilometer eggs dropping at an increased rate? I don't, well, maybe, possibly, and in which case there is a new sale box, the adventure box, which is going to be, let's actually go back really quick. Sorry to cut through the little tour there, but I just want to discuss this. The adventure box here, 15 regular incubators and then 5 super incubators. And if we think about this, the 2-kilometer eggs don't take much to crack, right? And using a super incubator is almost unnecessary. I personally do, but I'm going to start shifting from using the super incubators on the 2-kilometer eggs to the regular incubators, because the distance is not much more, and I just want to save those super incubators for possibly 5 kilometers, 7 kilometers, and 10-kilometer eggs. So this box is going to be pretty good. It's going to be giving you quite a few of those incubators, as well as a few star pieces and lucky eggs, so you can turn those on if you found a few Pokestops that you've never spun before, so you can get even more XP and maximize your winnings. All right, so moving back into the Pokedex, let's just go down here, and we're in Hoenn. All right, what do we have for rock types here? We have the Aeron, like we went over. Go go plus these all the time. And knowing my luck, I'm probably going to go plus a few more during this event. And I'm going to be going hard on this. Really, really hard, because I want that the Leap shiny as well as Steelix. I want all the new ones. The one that I want the least is the Anorith, but I still would like it. But high on the list is the Leap, obviously. That's going to be my golden ticket right there, and the one that I'm going to be looking for the most. So we have the shiny family for those. Very nice. Moving down the list here, what else can we find? We have the Leap and the Anorith, which will be released. Let's just see my catches for those right now. Seen 501 and caught 350 and 20. I've evolved 20. Yep, I'm a Cradily fan, so I can't wait to register that shiny into the Pokedex. Have I yet to get a female Cradily? That's odd. Huh. I've evolved 20 and I've yet to get a female. That's something right there. All right, moving on. There is no more rock types that are shiny. All right, now into the Sinnoh. Now, these aren't going to be shiny, but this is something to take note of, that we may have an increased spawn for these Cranidos as well as these Shieldons in the wild. And we've been over this already as to why you shouldn't have put rare candies into them, in the past, saying that we're going to possibly get a rock event this adventure week. And here it is. Perfect, just on time, like we discussed. And if you didn't put rare candies, or if you did put rare candies, that's perfectly fine. No big deal. But you're going to be able to find more of these in the wild and possibly even hatch them out of 2-kilometer eggs, in which you will be increasing your candy count and be able to evolve those Rampardos. So if you do have a lucky, then now is going to definitely be the time to use those candies. And this thing is just amazing. And if you're thinking, well, okay, Rampardos, what's so amazing? Well, if you didn't know, it's the best rock attacker in the game. It's a bit frail, but the thing is an absolute beast when it comes down to DPS and just being a pure rock attacker with Smackdown and Rock Slide. Ooh-wee. This is definitely something you're going to want a full team of 6 of eventually. Don't try to go and make a full team of 6 all of a sudden. I mean, you can if you have the resources, but eventually you want those, because it's not going to be outperformed for quite some time. And then the Shieldon, of course, they said by name, will be hatching out of 2-kilometer eggs. I don't know how much the hatch increase is going to be, but it's still going to be something to take note of, right? Because this is going to be one of the best PvP for the for the Great League. The thing is an absolute beast. We did power one of these up way before it came into relevancy for the Great League, and I was describing how good this thing is going to perform because of the massive defense, as well as it pretty much maxing out around 1500, bringing almost its full potential out there at almost level 40. Personally, mine is level 40 because the IVs are horrible, so it doesn't pass the 1500 marker. So another thing to take note of, and don't just take lightly, I do already have one powered up. I don't have any other plans to make any more because there's really no point, because going up against them and using them in the gym battle or a raid is absolutely useless. I don't know about dropping them in a gym. Maybe they might be able to perform, kind of okay with that massive defense. Still haven't dropped mine in a gym. I think I should test that out and see what it looks like when my friend attacks it. And moving on here, the Gible is not a rock type, but we may see a few, few more spawns in between there, seeing it's ground type. Adventure week, they might just increase the spawns a little bit, which would be great if Niantic did that, because we all are dying to get more Gibles, or at least get our first one at that, because Garchomp is going to be quite amazing. Then moving on here, there's not really much more, and that's pretty much going to wrap it up there for the shiny Pokemon that you need to be tapping on. And now we have the Crystal Onyx. Now this is not going to be a shiny form, nor its regular form. It's going to be a crystal form. And not very many Pokemon, if any, have an alternative form other than their shinies. This is a very special exception, and it's not going to be coming for Adventure Week. Who knows if it's even going to be entering into Pokemon Go at all. Maybe one day, but wouldn't that be something, a little surprised if they drop the crystal on us? Not gonna happen, but you never know. And with that said, trainers, I'd like to say thank you for watching. And one more tip that I'm going to give you here, and that is going to be regarding the buddy distance cut down for candies. What do you want to walk? Well, if you have a Gible, I recommend that. If you evolved it, then go with your Garchomp, because you're going to have that distance cut down. So right now it's going to be 5 kilometers. It's going to be a lot easier to collect those candies during that adventure week with that distance cut down. And well, seeing that they're so rare, this is going to be one of those options that you probably may want to go with, or whatever other Pokemon that you're trying to get candies for. And if you're thinking about legendary Pokemon, 20 kilometers, I honestly will say this: don't really waste your time. I mean, you can go for it, but you're better off just putting rare candies into those and walking something else with a much shorter kilometer distance to maximize your candy. And that's pretty much it. So with that said, trainers, I'd like to say thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll be getting back to my regular upload schedule starting today. Take care, trainers.